Hey everybody, and welcome to my second of hopefully many Delvers Drop videos. I just want to remind you guys this is footage of the pre-alpha, the PAX East build. So this is a couple of months old at this point. Basically, the reason I have the ability to record footage of this is because over the last weekend, the actual alpha was supposed to be released, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, basically, I believe, I don't know for sure, but I think that, they need to spend some more time to make the game a little more stable before they release it to backers, Kickstarter backers, who pledged at a certain level to gain access to the alpha and beta stages of development. They had to push it back, basically. So, as a consolation gift sort of a deal, they released the pre-alpha build from PAX so that we can play it in the meantime while we wait. So, pretty good deal, and it means that I can show this game to you guys and kind of explain a little bit more about it. So, all in all, it's a win-win. So, as you can see, I did not start from the beginning here. I just started playing casually for a little while, and then I kind of came in and decided it would be a good idea to record right here. Partially because I actually died on room 15 in my last video, so I figured a good place to pick up is from around the same area. And then the other reason is because, as you can see on the bottom right corner, I have all of the available items, or at least I believe all the available items in the pre-alpha build, so I have a good position to basically show you guys all the different aspects of the game. The life potion, which I've equipped currently and I'll be using soon because I nearly get killed again on room 15 here. The bombs, obviously, which work how you would expect them to. The crossbow, which is a good ranged weapon. I'll be using that a little bit more in the next room. And the fire wand, which is more offensive than the crossbow, but it has less shots for it, unless you play as the class that actually specifically uses the fire wand. And, to clarify, and I just got hit by a fireball right there, and those things are nasty. They just absolutely deadly. They tear through your life like crazy, and I don't know how their damage output is going to be in the actual release. I don't know if they're going to make it lower or anything, but yeah, you really have to be cautious with those things, because they'll tear you up, basically. So, what can I talk about now? Alright, so some features about the game. First off, something that you probably notice subtly, but maybe not to its full extent. There is going to be a very robust physics system within the game, and usually physics system you'd be maybe a little bit kind of about, because Lord knows how many really crappy physics-based puzzle games there are out there. But this, from what I've played of this game, and I've played a decent amount so far, especially in this video. This was actually the furthest I ever got. I think I might have said that earlier, but sorry if I'm restating stuff. Anyways, just how smooth this game feels to play. Even watching a video kind of doesn't lend itself to playing the game. It feels very smooth, and most importantly, like, it feels very skill-based. I feel that each death that I've kind of suffered has been more my own personal failings rather than, a certain game system screwing me. I've never died to the physics system of the game, going out of whack and said, oh, that was totally the game's fault. I couldn't have done anything about that. I always feel very in control, despite the fact that the rogue is actually a little slippery to control. But, like, it's just kind of adjusting to it, basically. One of the main features of the game, like I said, is that it's going to have various classes in it. So, like I said about the fire wand, each class is going to have their own specific type of weapon, and other classes will be able to implement that weapon, but they maybe won't have that, or they basically won't be as experienced with it, so they'll end up breaking it because, they're using it the wrong way compared to the class that it's meant for. So if a rogue picks up like a battle hammer, they'll probably swing it a few times and do a decent amount of damage, but then it'll break after a couple of uses. Or with the wand, which is actually an example you can see within the game, the sorcerer can use wands, I believe, infinitely, or at least he can use them more effectively than the rogue can. I'm pretty sure it's infinite, and I'm sure that they'll find ways to balance that out. So, you know, as you can see, the fire wand in this build is very powerful, but I believe they're going to balance everything out so that, you know, maybe you can benefit yourself by using an item outside of your class, like, say the battle hammer has the ability to create a shockwave and do damage to groups of enemies. That could be good for a situation where you're surrounded, but as a rogue, you only get to use that such and such number of times. But, I'm not quite sure on that one. There's still, you know, there's still a lot kind of up in the air. There's been a lot that's been discussed between the kind of growing community on the forums and the developers themselves, and just a lot of really interesting stuff about the game. So yeah, so we have the rogue, the sorcerer, who are going to be the two classes present in the alpha, the first alpha build, and then we'll be adding probably the gladiator sometime later on. But yeah, the rogue, the sorcerer, and the gladiator are the three kind of main classes that we've seen. They were kind of the introductory classes, and then three more classes kind of won in a vote to see, you know, who the community wanted in most. And the classes that won were the Beastkeeper, who is sort of God, what's the name for that? It's like Diablo 2 class. I can't think of the name. I feel really dumb. But Druid? I don't think Druid, but no, it's not Druid. But essentially just a Beastkeeper, you know, a character who has control over animals. And they're going to have a whip as their main weapon. They're going to be able to call basically like a stampede of animals as their special ability, which sounded pretty interesting to me. There's also going to be classes like the Elementalist, who's sort of a pyromancer but kind of controls all the different elements. And which the element system in this game, or like the elemental sort of table, I guess, that they have in this game is really interesting. They put little kind of bits of the lore in their world into the game in every little corner. So even the elements themselves have their own symbols, have their own names. Like Fury is the fire element, and the symbol that you see on the wand and also on explosive boxes symbolizes fire within the game world. So you can kind of tell if something is fire-based based off of if that symbol appears on it. So maybe if there's a puzzle that needs to be solved using a fire elemental attack or something like that, it'll probably show that symbol on it. And right there is the symbol that you see. That's Fury, is the element of fire. So if I hit those boxes, they would explode. Sorry if I'm a little quiet. It's a little late at night, and also my voice is kind of hoarse. But anyways. So I've talked a lot about classes. Trying to think of what else. So I kind of got my start into this game's community and just kind of the game itself by actually watching Epic Name Bro's video on the game that he released a couple months back. So I have to give a big thanks to him for kind of initiating me and enlightening me into the game of Delver's Drop, and overall the company Pixelscopic. They're really nice people. I've contacted them a couple of times, and I've always gotten really open, friendly responses. Just the community itself, they go on the forums every once in a while to chat with backers and just, you know, forum prowlers like myself, and it's been quite a trip the past few months, and I've become like really invested in this game. So I really want to show it off for all that it's worth, and I'm not the best person to do this, you know, really. You can find a lot of information on the forums. We have like really great wealths of information, suggestions from people who are looking forward to the game, just kind of ideas being tossed around and discussed, and it's great. You know, I've really enjoyed being involved sort of indirectly with this project and just being able to sort of bug test it a little bit. I haven't actually run into any bugs on the pre-alpha, except for a couple of really minor things, and there actually is a minor visual thing that distracts me and ends up killing me in this run, and you'll see that later on. But yeah, so Epic Name Bro, kind of, his video got me interested in this game, and from there I checked out the Kickstarter page for the game, and I was amazed at just how deep the lore was within such a small amount of time of kind of learning about the project. And right there, I kind of exploited a little physics trick. This game actually does have, not just X and Y coordinates of a 2D game, but also Z coordinates. So when you get hit by a bomb, or an enemy gets hit by a bomb, they actually kind of shoot up into the air. Not quite a rocket jump, but sort of similar. So as you saw there, going over a small gap like that, I was actually able to skip kind of traversing around the room again, and I just kind of blasted myself, sacrificed a little bit of health, but I ended up actually launching myself over the gap there. So little fun things like that are already available in the game, and it kind of gives you a hint as to kind of the ingenuity that you can use to help yourself around the game world, and kind of maybe even solving puzzles. And this was one of the scarier moments I had in this run. Ghosts are some of the most maligned enemies in the game so far, and for good reason. They don't look too bad, but they're actually very stressful to fight. I feel that this is a pretty good show of that this game is very player skill based. Because I was cautious and I wove around the fireballs and was able to go and be offensive when I needed to be. Like, I was able to take out all these guys even with as little health as I had, and I'm not sure if I had another room of ghosts after this, or if I already had that first room of ghosts, but I was amazed at myself that I was able to pull through this and kind of get through without dying. It was really fun. Like, I was excited. I was playing this while hanging out with my girlfriend Allie and her brother Ben, and we were all like freaking out because of all the ghosts. Yeah, this second ghost room was just like, I had just fought through all those ghosts, and then I had to fight more with these fireballs that would completely destroy me in my way. Luckily, the fireball turrets actually kind of helped me out here by killing a lot of the ghosts in the room, which I really appreciated, like right there. So, different aspects of the environment can actually impact each other. That was a really good shot again. I really loved that fireball turret at the end, so I kind of spazzed out right there. But, yeah, I mean, I've discussed about, kind of enemy AI where maybe they could be hostile. Certain species or certain enemies could be hostile to other groups of enemies, and maybe you could have, a big group of goblins attacking a larger enemy. Like, there aren't many examples to go off of quite yet, because they have a pretty basic roundup of fantasy enemies in the game right now, but looking at some of the enemy ideas that they've come up since this PAX East build, there's going to be a pretty heavy variety of enemies in the game. Even some of them are going to be developed, or have been developed by backers. So that's going to be really interesting to see how the community has kind of impacted the game and added some stuff to the game. There'll actually be randomly generated names for each character that you send into the draw. So you might find, for example, my name that I contributed for the character name contributions was Rousdower the Bemolded, kind of a nod at Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is my favorite episode called The Last Sacrifice. Check it out, it's really hilarious. But yeah, so you might get Bob the Mighty, or Trogdor the Burninator. I don't know, crazy titles like that for different classes. Even I think they might be specific based on classes. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool stuff how much they've opened up to people to kind of add into the game. They're going to be items named by people, so you might find, like, I don't know, Peter's cure-all something or other elixir, and it'll be like a reference to some guy who backed at a certain level and was able to contribute kind of an item idea. It's probably not going to be like a cure-all sort of thing, because I believe it was limited by it can only have a particular type of effect, like not super specific, but it had to be kind of balanced and fair and not too overpowered. Anyways, it's not entirely relevant, but just a lot of cool stuff, basically, is my point. So, I talk about backstory, I talked about classes, I talked about the physics system a little bit and kind of the tricks you can do with it. Thinking of what else. Oh, I guess, have I gone over the lore? I'm not sure if I have. I'm doing post-commentary, and I'm not used to it, so I apologize if I'm kind of stumbling over myself here. But, if I already talked about lore, I apologize, but, to go more into the lore, the basic setup of Delver's Drop is that it centers around the drop, which is what we're in right now. And, the drop is basically this giant kind of tunnel leading down through this giant mountainous structure called the Cornice Spire. And the idea of the game is that at the top of the Cornice Spire lies this spring, or this fountain, and it's basically sort of a fountain of youth, or something along those lines. And the civilization who lives on Cornice Spire, they've been building upwards through the ages through the tower, and sort of letting the older structures kind of fade into decay while they build up, and they build through basically epochs of their evolution, through different civilizations. So you're going to see a lot of different architectural differences. I know that's redundant, but just a lot of different themes, I guess, throughout each zone of the game. There are going to be various zones that you're going to explore through, each one kind of going into older and older stages of this civilization's past, I guess. And also, it's going to be more decrepit the further down you go, which could lend to maybe a horror-themed area later on where maybe, these dark aspects of the game's world have taken over the older parts of the civilization. There have been talk of a lot of different areas. There was a lodge idea that was talked about on one of the developers' live streams where they showed off the game and did some Q&A. And, they were talking about taxidermied animals and, antlers on the walls and all sorts of creepy stuff like that, and just the enemy ideas that kind of came from that, and discussing just that simple concept of having, this lodge with wooden flooring, and, just kind of taxidermied animals, the taxidermied creatures you could have, goblins, those little cute dudes that you probably saw earlier on in the video, mixed together with bats, so they have, bat wings where their ears would be, and they're kind of flapping around. They look kind of, disturbed because they've been put together and reanimated in all these weird ways. I don't know. Crazy stuff like that. There's been a lot of speculation like that as to the possibilities, but, it just shows you, there's a lot of potential behind what they're working on within the game, and it's gotten me and a lot of other people excited for, what's in store for, the more that is revealed to us throughout the game. And, it's crazy stuff, and I'm really excited to have been able to be a part of this community, kind of almost from the get-go, from, their Kickstarter campaign to right now, where they're finally releasing the alpha stages, and we're going to be able to show that off. So, kind of getting close to the end here. I'm on room 41 right now, which is, again, this is the best run that I ever had of the game, and when it comes up, you'll see just how silly and unnecessary my death was. The whole reason I died was because I kind of lost focus, and I was joking around for half a second. I noticed something out of the ordinary. I was like, oh, hey, what's that over there? And before I knew it, I looked back at my character, and I was dead. So in a way, it has this difficulty to it that kind of demands your constant attention and determination. You've always got to be cautious and really deliberate with each movement, each kind of strategy you go with, I guess, would be the best way to put it. And I really appreciate that. You'd think I would be angry, dying, right before getting to room 50. I die on room 47, so as we're coming up to it, I'll kind of wind down the video. But yeah, you would think I would be more upset about that, but I actually, I was feeling pretty good. I was excited by this run that I was able to get as far as I was able to go, and I feel as though I could get even further if I could, keep diligent and I could keep really focused on the game and not get messed up by silly little things that distract me, and then I get blown up by a fireball in the dumbest way possible. You'll see it. It's really silly and bad. I feel terrible about it, but it was also pretty comedic, so I hope you guys get a kick out of it. But is there anything else I can talk about? Oh god, there's plenty I can talk about. I just, it's hard to process all of it, what to talk about and when. So, I guess I'll just talk about this general mode. This is Endless Drop mode. And Endless Drop mode is just go through all of these different randomly generated rooms and see how far you can get. It's basically a test of endurance and skill, and see how far you can get. It's just sort of, to challenge yourself. This is going to be one mode in the game. It's not the main mode at all. They're talking about adding bosses to every 10 or 20 rooms within the Endless Drop mode, which I think is an excellent idea, and I'd really like that as an added challenge. And the campaign mode, as I said, it's going to go through all these different areas of the drop, going deeper and deeper, starting out with the mountaintop prison of the Chill, which is this area we're in right now, I believe, and then going deeper and deeper, going through areas like the lodge that I mentioned before, maybe jungle area, maybe like a water-themed area, because you always have to have those. Fire-themed areas, maybe. I don't know, all sorts of areas, and not just themed stuff, also a lot of story-relevant things. You'll be finding kind of mad people left behind or lost within the drop, maybe other prisoners like yourself, and you'll get a lot of lore drops through that, and none of it's required. There's no, walls of text that you have to go through in this game. It just kind of pops up on the screen, and if you want to learn more about the lore of the world, it's there for you to see, and it's there for you to discover, but it's not something that's shoved in your face, and I really appreciate that, and it almost takes a lesson from Dark Souls, and obviously being the nut that I am about that series, that's something that really excites me about the game, and just the setup for the plot itself, I really love. So, this is the second to last room before I end up dying. I'm just wasting all my crossbow bolts to, I guess, show it off, and just for the hell of it, just for fun. But, so yeah, in addition to Endless Drop and Campaign Mode, which Campaign Mode will have adjacent rooms and more of a dungeon layout, possibly maps as well, so that you can navigate around and know where you're going. It's not just going to be dropping down pits like this. If anything, dropping down pits will be a much more significant event in the Campaign Mode as you go down through the different layers of the drop. But, there's so much to talk about, and so little time to convey it, even though this is a 23-minute video. So, I'll just get up to my death here, and then I'll continue talking a little while after the footage ends to explain just a little more. So, I noticed that fireball turret, and I was looking over at it trying to expose more of it, and basically that happened. So I collected 2,070 coins, 47 rooms, killed 220 at 1 enemies, lost 12 health and 8 shield shards, and I died. And that was that. And it was a damn good run. I really had a good time with that one. So yeah, just to finish up here and close off some of the other modes that are going to be in the game. There's going to be a puzzle mode because obviously, as you saw, it's not all just combat rooms. There are a couple of rooms that work off of physics puzzles. There might be riddles. There's going to be a lot of variety within the final game that they're going to work with, especially with certain things like the elemental system that they have in the game, like all sorts of different stuff. Really, I highly suggest that you guys check out the Kickstarter just to look at the updates and kind of get a background in the lore of the game, the backstory of Cornus Spire and Delver's Drop and the drop itself and the Delvers and where all this stuff kind of comes together. There's stuff like the Stranger's Heart, and that has a major kind of significance within the plot line. The Guilt King is sort of this overarching baddie who may not entirely be that bad of a guy. He might be sort of a sympathetic sort of antagonist. I don't know. Like, just if you check out the forums, there are pages upon pages of speculation and ideas and all sorts of great stuff. So, I mean, really, even in all this time, I know I kind of stumble over myself and I repeat things and all that, but I hope you guys will check out the Kickstarter, and I've tried recording this like 3-4 times now because I keep stuttering and slipping up, but I finally made it to the end of the video without choking, so I hope I could inform you guys a little bit more about Delver's Drop and the world of and the concepts of and all the awesome stuff that's going to be in it. And I hope that I can at least convince you guys to maybe give the game a chance, take a look at it. You know, check out the forums. There's a lot of really friendly people on there. We don't bite, and we need some more people to make the forums more active, because it's a little slow rolling now. It started out really strong, but now we're just kind of waiting for this alpha to come out so we have more to talk about and fanboy and geek out about and all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, check out the Kickstarter, read all the updates on there. If this game has interested you with any of the gameplay at all, or any of the lore I expressed, or the different classes, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's as much as I can say. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I enjoyed recording it, and I hope that one day I can get even further than room 47, maybe room 100. I've already seen people make it to like room 160 something, and that stuff's ridiculous, but that's all I've got to say. I'll see you guys later, and thank you for watching. Sorry for this long end of video chat. I'm on a roll, and I can't stop talking about this game. I'm sorry. Have a good night, everybody, or good day, whenever you're watching this. Goodbye.